had said early on that we're going to be doing a healing on the earth, the heart of the earth. And it was the seeming or coincidental success of my working on the planet a few weeks ago, and we now have gotten above average rain in this month. I really was heartened and inspired by the idea that the healings on the earth can really help. We can't anthropomorphize because there aren't organs in the same way that we have organs or that animals have organs. What's at the heart of a plant? We don't know. I mean, they don't have the organ of the heart. So when I went into work this morning, the Higher Selves reminded me of the times, this is quite a few years ago now, I would say. I started working with what the Higher Self call the depth soul. Now, what is the depth soul? Well, I really didn't know, but they would use that term. And so I started at one point to try to figure it out. And where I was brought this was now whatever years ago, was I was brought to the part of my soul that could be considered first mind of my human life. To be clear, every life that we have, each life, we are processing through a mind. The mind is an aspect of our soul, and the mind of the life is where we feel, we think, we imagine, we feel, we process all the experiences, the totality of the life. When we die, the body is laid aside, the mind becomes one with the soul. So each life, when we lay aside the body, the mind then joins with the conglomerate soul. So you could view the soul as the minds of the past, okay? And the soul contains the minds of the past from the time we were minerals. So it contains all of the experiences that we've ever had, not just the human lives. The depth soul was the first life. I'm explaining this to you because it is going to be used symbolically to explain the heart of the planet, okay? So symbolically, in order to understand the symbol, you have to understand this. So what I found at my depth soul was something so deep. Now, I interpreted it as the first mind, the first experience in the human kingdom. Now, it may not. It may have been even deeper than that. But it was this really powerful part of me. It was like the heart of who I am. Now, what was in that space? I communicated. That was a long time ago. I didn't write it down. I did it when I was out walking many, many times, or I was working just with friends, and we never taped it. We never wrote it down. So I'm going by memory. It started to talk with me. I was able to have conversations with this heart of me. And while it was conversing with me, I could see it had tremendous wisdom because it had seen every single life that I have ever had. It had seen everything. It had been a part of everything. It had been with me for my whole journey through the human kingdom. So it carried this tremendous knowledge, tremendous wisdom, but it also carried this tremendous sadness, just this absolutely despair. And it took me a while because I was so I remember at the time I was so sort of amazed that I was communicating with this part of me and all of that it took me a while to really hone in on it. And finally I said, why is there so much despair and sorrow there? And what it said was, it's there because I've watched the suffering, the endless suffering throughout my journey of the soul, my own suffering, but even more the suffering of others. I mean, it was as if this part of me, and it was female in nature, was so overwhelmed with a complete sorrow and despair of man's inhumanity to man, and all of the suffering and all of the cruelty and all of the pain, it was almost uncontainable. It was so deep. So I said, well, let's work on that. Because, she's really part of me. Remember, guys, this is part of me. So I'm like, I don't want that in there. So I said, let's work on it. So I did. And we spent a long time to release this very, very deep, very, very intense sorrow and despair. And I really started to not only feel lighter, but I could really sense her feeling lighter. I really sensed her being able to let in hope and joy in a way that I had not experienced with her at all. The wisdom and the knowledge and all of that she had didn't go away. It was still there, really prominent, but instead of the despair, I really felt joy and hope move in. And it was profound experience for me. And the higher self said, in some ways you can look at that depth soul as the heart of who you are. The heart of who you are. It's as if it's the meat of who you are, So I'm doing my best to explain. So I said, all souls have, including the planet, even if we can't imagine or anthropomorphize the heart of a soul, of a mineral, or of a plant, or the planet, it is similar to that. And we can use that depth soul analogy when working on healing the heart of the planet. Because the planet, just like my depth soul, the planet has been here for the totality of its journey. That heart of that planet, that depth soul of that planet, of this planet, of any planet, has been here through the whole journey and is housing these other souls. Some planets don't house other souls, but this planet is one that does, and there are millions of planets that do. But in any case, we're working on our planet today. And the higher selves are just telling me working on this planet is actually the energy and the work and the healing is actually going to be going out to other planets that house human life. Who knew that? Not me. But it's not surprise because that energy is powerful. We bring it. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on the planet's depth soul, the heart of the planet. And I don't know what we're going to find there, but it has been here for billions of years. So it's got to be carrying a lot. So we'll have to see. And I don't know yet. I know for me, I had a profound shift in my energetic field when I worked on my depth soul. I just felt better. Even though I wasn't someone that on the outer reality was always in despair. I wasn't. But there was a lightness, and it just allowed more lightness and more joy into my life. So I hope whatever the results are for the planet itself, probably we won't get any feedback on it, but maybe we will in some way. The higher selves, when I was doing it, they reminded me that all souls, and I mentioned this earlier, have chakras. All souls have the energetic bodies. All souls have the pure soul essence. So even though we can't fully grasp and imagine what the soul of a planet would be like, we have to keep in mind that just as we've accumulated a lot of energetic trash, garbage, weight, misunderstandings, emotional blueprints, habits, thoughts, self-identities that are, solidified, whatever we've accumulated in its own way, the planet has also accumulated this. So we want to go in and see what we get, okay? And I'm asking for all of you to take part. Whatever I get on the planet, everybody can release, because everybody has a depth soul, however we want to view it or look at it, because it's hard to verbalize and really put words around. I want all of you to be working on the heart of you as well as sharing your energy so that we're working on the heart of the planet. I want everyone to move back into the place of the amalgamated state. We don't need to spend a lot of time on this. I feel that everything is still in place. The forever now moment is in place, and it's now encompassing the planet itself. The planet is also moving into the pure soul essence of the planet itself has been activated, and it's amalgamated with the planet and with all of us. The light, its light, is now moving in through and around the forever now moment. The planet is also being moved upon and is sitting on the hub. The planet is very small. I'm seeing the symbol of a planet like a globe you might use in a school or something like that, maybe a little larger than that. And also the amalgamation with the originating source is in place, and we are protected, connected, and completely as one, completely amalgamated with the divine energies. Okay. So now what I'm seeing flashed at me is symbolically at the center of the planet. Now, it may not be at the center of the planet. Our heart isn't symbolic. It isn't actually at the center of our body, but symbolically I'm seeing it at the heart of the planet, right in the center of the planet, just as flashing me a symbol so that I have something to begin with. And I've certainly never done this before, so you're in it with me from the beginning. I just have a lot of faith, I should say. I trust that the higher self will move me and all of us along on this healing. Now, right now, the flashing is showing me a color that I would consider to indicate infection or inflammation. There's a lot of irritation here. There's a lot. I mean, you might imagine it like magma, but at the core of the actual planet, I think it's solid. The magma is not part of the core, but it seems burning, and symbolically, there's a lot of irritation here. So what I'm just going to do is I'm symbolically going to take like light lasers, and I'm going to drill down from the surface of the planet symbolically with the light lasers. Remember, it's just a symbol, and we're going to start to allow this irritation, this fiery, angry, there's anger here. Oh my goodness, who knew? There's a lot of anger here, a lot of irritation and rage even. There's rage here. I mean, who the heck knew that? So anyway, I'm asking that it be released, and it is now. The things that I've drilled symbolically with the laser light down through the planet are now openings where some of this rage can move out, this anger, this irritation, this irritability, this frustration is now coming out. There's a sense of injustice here, a sense of how dare you here. Oh my goodness. And as it moves up the lighted holes, the holes that were drilled, and it's moving out into the light, it is being neutralized, and I'm getting now this sense of injustice, this sense of rage and how it gets treated. It feels unseen and unheard, guys, okay? It feels like it's been treated like it's unimportant. It feels, yikes. I mean, this makes sense to me, but I didn't know that I would find this. It feels, it just feels attacked. It feels, there's a tremendous amount of discomfort. It just doesn't feel balanced. It feels there's illness patterns that it's carrying. So I want to have it continue to release illness patterns and discomfort and imbalances and whatever it is, and also the anger at injustice, the misunderstandings, the misconceptions that it has, because like us, it also carries misunderstandings and misconceptions. It doesn't understand why it isn't respected and valued and treated in the way that it deserves. And this is at least part of the source for the anger that it's feeling. And so I wanted to release all of the ideas and that it's unseen and unheard, and that and all the feeling that it has, that there's a sense of demanding here. It demands that it seen and heard. It demands that we pay attention. It's angry. It feels justified in its anger, and it almost feels like there's a sense of vengeance here. There is a sense, it wants to avenge itself. It feels so much pain and suffering, and it's not just recently. This is a long time, but I don't know. I would say certainly millennium, and in some ways it was worse before than it is now. In some ways it's worse now than it was before, but it's just been, there's a sense of vengeance that desires vengeance upon us. It didn't know that it signed up for this. And doesn't this sound so familiar? Oh my gosh, I know I felt certain things like this. I know other people have felt certain things like this. How dare it happen to me? What did I do to deserve it? Why aren't people seeing me? It just is so similar. And that's what I'm getting. It just feels absolutely, how dare it happen? I didn't sign up for this, is what I'm hearing it say. I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up for all this discomfort, all this pain, all this attack, all this hurt, all this pollution, all this cruelty. I didn't sign up for any of this. Why? I didn't know. I was unaware. And here it comes, guys. The victim pattern. It feels like a victim. It feels like a victim. And aren't we so familiar with this? Because it's part of the human condition. So I don't know if I'm just anthropomorphizing, but boy, I've been thinking about this for a couple of days. These things just didn't come up in my mind ever. So I want to just let go. I want it to let go of the victim pattern. I want it to let go of the sense of powerlessness it feels, the sense that it's been violated. There's a sense of violation here, like it's been raped. It's really intense. So I want all of that to let go, and I can feel the pain. There is a deep-rooted, deep-seated pain here. Just so much pain and suffering. So much pain and suffering. Whew. So much. And it is letting it go. And the holes that I drilled in, the symbolic holes to help release, have now opened up. And so the release is actually moving fairly well. I want to infuse into it divine understanding, divine love, divine power, divine connection, really clarity of vision and expanded perception. It's as if it mirrors a lot of what the humanities feel. This sense of wanting vengeance, wanting to avenge, wanting to hurt others, wanting to get back at. All the way from the eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and to other things like, needing to avenge someone's honor or avenge someone's death. There's all bunches of this stuff in here. Let's just let all of this go. And again, I want to call in divine understanding and divine nurturing and divine serenity. I want to bring in, again, that expanded perception, because the viewpoint is one that feels it's old, it's been there for a long time, and it's sort of trapping the soul, keeping it from moving forward because it has its focus on getting back at. And the planet is a powerful place. It can bring us earthquakes and volcanoes and all sorts of tsunamis and weather patterns and etc. So we want it to release all of this getting back at, this reminds me of the rains, in the biblical flood, the planet getting a vengeance on souls. Now, I don't think that was really the whole meaning about the ark and all of that, the flood in the Bible. That's some parable, and I'm not that up on exactly all the deeper meanings of it, but it kind of reminds me of the idea that the planet itself could wreak vengeance, wreak havoc on itself, on those souls it is housing. Now, I want to call in divine breath, because I do feel a slowing down of this vengeance being let go into the light and released and neutralized. I do feel a slowing down. Now, there is pain there and there's sorrow, a lot of grief. So we want that grief. It's pain and feeling sorrow for itself, but it also is beginning to release the pain and the sorrow for others. It's coming to understand that it's not the only thing that suffered, that many of the souls housed on the planet have suffered in many different ways, and it hurts for those souls. It hurts for those souls at a very deep level. There is a lot of pain here being released, a lot of grief. It's beginning to move out of its own way, so to speak, because it's being able to see, okay, maybe it didn't sign up for this. Maybe it didn't realize from the get-go that this is the kind of thing that it was going to move into. But because remember, the awareness of the planet mirrors the awareness of the souls upon it. So in the early days when there were only minerals on this planet, the planet's awareness was very low. And as the planet's awareness moves up, it can then bring in higher and higher levels of souls upon it. So it's a mirror right now. It's a mirror for all the souls upon it. They're mirroring each other, however you want to say it. So I can see it moving away from that really difficult, painful, angry place. And it feels like it's opening its symbolic eyes. The eyes are being open. It's beginning for the first time, because it was so tunnel vision around I didn't sign up for this, I'm a victim, I want vengeance, that kind of thing. It was so tunnel visioned about that it really had a hard time focusing on much of anything else. And it is now, I do sense the proverbial eyes are being opened. And I'm calling in divine love again to really bathe, to move in through and around the planet and right into the heart of the planet. And I want to bring in hope too, divine hope and divine awareness and divine understanding. I'm sorry, I'm having some quiet moments here, but I have to, it's something new, so it takes me a few moments sometimes to really focus in, because that's not something I do every day. And so I'm just trying to watch the energies as they work, and I feel this beautiful, I would say, a blue-green, but shades of blue and shades of green, but it's very crystalline looking, like a shiny-ish, is moving right in the heart of the planet. Now, I might have thought it would have been a pink, but it is this beautiful blue-green, and it's very, very balanced, and it's just moving around at the heart, the symbolic heart, and that it is moving in through and around the totality of the planet and is beginning to engulf the planet itself. And it feels like it's a very balancing kind of energy that is bringing a state of health. There's a state of health and a state of balance that's moving up, and it's moving into the totality of its physical body, and its etheric bodies, and it's also available for the souls upon the planet, their physical body and their etheric bodies. So it's a very powerful energy field that the higher selves are providing. And I'm still feeling that there needs to be some more releases from the heart of the planet. So we have a little more time. So I want to just see if there's anything else in there that I didn't mention, or if it's just more of what we've already been working on. This is some real blackness is all I can call it. And it's coming up, it is being released, it's coming up from the center of the planet, and it's being moved out into the light. It's coming up past the surface of the planet, and it looks sort of curly-ish, almost like maybe some smoke, but it's thicker looking than smoke, but just kind of curling around and coming up out of the earth, symbolically the top, but I don't know really where. And this just feels, I can't even put words around it, but symbolically, because it's so black, it looks really yucky. It looks old. It looks dead. So maybe that's what it's letting go of. All the death upon the planet. The death of all the souls. Because the death has been massive. It's not just human death. It's plant and animal death. It is a massive amount of death that it has experienced. It's each and every death has touched this planet. And honestly, it's also making me cry, because there is such a vast experience of death. I mean, we think about our lives, and death touches us many times over a lifetime, where it's family members who die, and friends and family, or people in the news that we're loyal to or we care about, even if we don't know them. And so maybe in our lifetimes they're 10 or 50 or 100, even 500 deaths that we, if we live through a war, it could be way more than that we carry the sorrow, the hurt, the pain, the suffering, and all of that. But the planet, we're talking infinite numbers of death that it has experienced, and it takes in at some imprint level all of the death upon the planet. Wow. And so it's letting go of the trauma, the pain, the hurt, the just anything that, whatever the deaths would represent. And that's why I'm having a hard time finding words, because I don't know what a death of a plant would be like for the planet. I don't know. So I can't put exactly, it's hard to anthropomorphize, but I do see an endless stream of black moving out of the planet's center, out of its heart, and into the symbolic light. Now, this is interesting. The idea that's coming to me now is one of the things the higher selves have told us for ever since I started, was that some four important, and I've said this on the radio before, that four important issues or patterns or belief systems that we have to work on are illness, aging, death, and dying. And it's as if the planet itself needs to release the death and dying as well. We've been working in our own way on the illness patterns, the blights, the hurts, the wounds, whatever. We've been working on our, both in this healing and my previous healings. But this is the death part, the death and the dying. All of the experiences of death and dying that the planet has taken on, has felt. Some would be more significant than others. Some would hit it more more, hard, but there have been so many that it's just almost this endless stream of death and dying experiences moving out. It's almost as if the souls upon the planet were its children, and it's experienced so many children dying. Now, some of the deaths have been natural and easy and understandable, and the life lived by whatever child it was a good life, a productive life, a happy life. But there were many other instances where the deaths were premature, painful, very, very difficult for the planet to experience. And this was part of its, what I picked up on originally, it was part of its feeling it wanted vengeance and feeling angry because it didn't know it was signing up for this. So I'm feeling really good about this, releasing this death and dying issues. It's still a very steady stream. I don't know that we're going to be able to get to all of it because, oh my God, it's a lot. But I do feel, it's just interesting, what I'm sensing is now that the death is coming out in a steady stream, I'm sensing the inner layers of the planet itself going through a cleansing process of some sort. Like, instead of being sort of dark and heavy, it's a lot of that darkness is coming up through the death process, and it actually feels like it's clearing the body of the planet, similar to what it would do for us. So, wow. And everybody, you can all work on releasing death and dying. I never got to that when I started doing the illness, aging, death, and dying, I don't know, a long time ago now, and I have quite a few radio shows coming up in August and then maybe one in September where I have to pre-tape a show, and I was thinking of going back and doing the death and dying. But here's an opportunity for everyone to move right along with the planet, because we've all been dying and died with every single lifetime. It is a pattern in virtually every single lifetime. So everybody can release the death and dying that you might have experienced, the pain, the suffering, the horror, feelings of betrayal, feelings of helplessness or powerlessness, or whatever you might think, or that whatever comes up for you related to the death and dying process. And I probably will do a show on it, and we'll go into more depth. But you can get started here. You can get started right along with the planet to release all the death and dying experiences, traumas, fears, hurts, wounds, pain, suffering, grief, sorrow, despair, guilt and shame. Those are coming up too. The planet too has issues with wondering what its part was in all the problems, blaming itself. Interestingly enough, it carries that. Now, I'm certainly anthropomorphizing here, but there is something coming up about maybe it was responsible for some of these deaths, maybe because the volcano erupted, because it was angry, or what? I don't know, because obviously it's not the logic, they think this and then the consequence is that. It's a planet, so a lot of these are automatic pilot. It's automatic, it's instinctive. But at some level, the planet is wondering if it too is carrying some sort of responsibility. So I want it to release all of that self-attack, self-denigration, self-blame, and whatever level that comes up with a planet. And I would like to send in right to the heart of the planet, yet again, divine love and divine hope. I want some, I feel like we need some gold and silver energy in there. it represents the male and the female aspect, female nature, gold being the male and silver being the female. And I'm asking that move in and do whatever it needs to do. Divine healing, divine balance, that already did come in with the green and blue energy, but can't hurt to put more in there. Wow. I am finally seeing the death and dying thing slowing down, and it has cleared much from itself, however you want to look at it. I want to call in divine material balance. And divine material balance is the energy that was infused within the planet when it was first formed, and it carries that divine material balance, which is the manifestation, materializing from the abstract to the concrete in a balanced manner. So I'm sending in, it's an energy that any soul upon the planet is here because it needs it. And so I want to send in this divine material balance again to reinforce it, to empower it so that it can be even more intense, and it can also work for itself, on itself. You know, it's the I have planet. And if you don't have something, if you have a lack, you have the lack. And you don't want to have the lack. You want to have the manifestation of things in your life that you want. You want to materialize from the abstract idea of what you need, what you want, whatever would bring you joy or fulfillment into the actual material world. And we want that for the planet too. We want it to manifest the I have balance and health. I have joy. I have fulfillment. I have love. So we want all of that to be in the planet too. Now that silver and gold, it kind of bothers me. I don't know why I thought to put it in there, but it's sort of at the center of the planet. And it just feels kind of heavy, but maybe it's building a new foundation. I'm not sure. I want the higher selves to please do whatever with that silver and gold that's appropriate. And they're assuring me that it is appropriate. It's as if it's creating a new foundation instead of that irritation and inflammation and all the anger and the rage and all that was in there. It's got this balance in it, and the male and the female aspects, when they combine, they create. And so it's going to enable the planet to create and bring to manifest into the outer reality its own balance and harmony and health and perfection. Okay, so that, I guess, is supposed to be in there. Okay. The planet is now being encompassed in that beautiful cocoon energy to help it to continue to process and to also acclimate to what we did. And all of us on the planet is also being housed in here. So maybe we all need the same energy as well. My feeling is that we're very connected with the planet on multiple levels, and so whatever the planet was healing, we're all partaking and being, we're drawn into the healing as well. And with that, I see the Forever Now moment being closed up, and I really want to thank everybody for being a part of it and being with me as I stumble forward. I know with a deep, deep, profound knowing that we do help the planet, even when we can't find the exact words, even when we can't explain exactly how it works. the higher selves have shown me over the last 30 plus years just how profound and how amazing the energies are that we bring in amalgamation, we're so unlimited. And so why not help heal the planet? We all know it needs healing. And, if anybody has any feedback for me, please contact me. It's janet@janetrichmond.com. Let me know. Let me know anything you picked up, anything you sensed, any ideas that came to your mind, anything, because we're in this together, guys. We're learning together. This is the beauty of this show. I'm very much able to move this work forward, move the understanding forward, help on a much bigger level than just one-on-one because of the show. And I have endless gratitude for everyone that's part of the show, and I have endless appreciation for all that we do. So anyway, with that, I think I'm going to close the show down. I'm pretty out of it now, and I wasn't really in it when the show started. Just kind of bumbled along a little bit today, but the work was really good. We did a lot, so thank you, and I will be with you next week. Okay.